Picture this. You haven't had a proper meal in nearly 2 days. Yesterday, after hours of searching, your group finally discovered fresh signs of a herd nearby. Broken branches, deep footprints, and a path that almost guaranteed food. Everyone went to sleep believing tomorrow would finally end the hunger. But before sunrise, the sky changes. Dark clouds swallow the light. A cold wind begins to howl. Then the rain arrives. Not a quick shower, but a relentless storm that pounds the ground for hours, then through the entire night, and still hasn't stopped by morning. Suddenly, every plan disappears. The tracks you followed yesterday are gone, washed away beneath thick mud. The forest floor turns slippery. Every rock becomes dangerous. One wrong step could twist an ankle, and in a world without medicine, that single injury could mean the end of your life. The small stream beside your shelter begins rising. Cold water creeps closer. Even worse, the fire that protected your family all night starts weakening under the damp air. Today, we treat rainy days as a reason to relax. We stay indoors, grab a warm drink, watch a movie, or enjoy the peaceful sound of rain against the window. But for someone living 50,000 years ago, rain wasn't relaxing. It was a survival test. And strangely enough, those long storms may have shaped humanity more than many sunny days ever did. Rain created problems long before the first drop touched your skin. Cold was a silent enemy. Human bodies lose heat surprisingly fast when soaked with water. Wet skin pulls warmth away much quicker than dry skin, especially when strong winds are involved. Ancient people didn't own waterproof jackets. They didn't have heated homes. Many only wore simple animal skins that became heavy and soaked after hours of rain. As daylight disappeared and temperatures dropped during the night, staying warm became one of the group's biggest challenges. But cold wasn't the only danger. Heavy storms transformed the landscape itself. Small rivers became powerful currents. Valleys flooded. Paths disappeared. Even caves, places that seemed perfectly safe, could suddenly become deadly if rainwater rushed inside. Archaeologists have discovered ancient shelters buried beneath layers of flood sediment, showing that powerful storms sometimes forced entire groups to abandon places they had lived in for years. Nature could erase a home overnight. Then came another terrifying problem. Animals hated storms too. Large predators searched for dry places just like humans did. If a cave offered protection from the rain, it wasn't yours alone. Leopards, hyenas, bears, each of them wanted shelter for exactly the same reason you did. Several prehistoric cave sites contain both human remains and the bones of dangerous predators, suggesting that these shelters were often shared or fought over. During bad weather, everyone was pushed toward the same dry spaces. Sometimes survival depended on who arrived first. Yet above every other problem stood one responsibility that nobody could ignore: the fire. For ancient humans, fire wasn't simply comfort. It was life itself. It gave warmth during freezing nights. It frightened away predators. It made food safer to eat. It produced light after sunset. It even became the center of family life. Without it, darkness felt much larger. Many scientists believe that while early humans mastered controlling fire hundreds of thousands of years ago, creating a brand new fire whenever they wanted wasn't always easy. That meant losing the flames could become a disaster. If heavy rain extinguished the fire, relighting it might take days or even require finding another group willing to share theirs. Because of that, protecting the fire became everyone's highest priority whenever storms arrived. People likely searched for dry branches hidden beneath thick trees where rain couldn't easily reach. Even when logs became soaked outside, the wood hidden deep inside often remained dry enough to burn once split open. Certain tree bark also burned surprisingly well despite damp conditions, making it valuable during long periods of rain. Someone in the group probably stayed beside the fire almost constantly, adding fuel little by little, shielding it from strong winds, watching every glowing ember. It wasn't exciting work, but it may have been the most important job anyone had, because if the fire survived, the group still had hope. Eventually, the storm trapped everyone inside. Hunting stopped. Travel became too dangerous. The question became simple. What do you do when you can't leave? You don't waste time. You prepare. And those quiet hours inside caves may have become some of the most productive moments in human history. Instead of chasing animals, people sharpened stone blades, repaired broken spears, prepared animal hides into better clothing, and planned future journeys. Children watched older family members carefully, learning skills they would one day depend on themselves. While rain fell outside, knowledge continued growing inside. And that may have been one of humanity's greatest advantages, because even when nature forced ancient humans to stop moving, they never stopped improving. As the rain continued falling outside, the cave became far more than just a place to wait. It became a workshop. Every spare moment was valuable. A cracked spear point could be replaced. A dull stone knife could be sharpened again. Loose bindings on hunting weapons could be tightened before the next expedition. Archaeologists have uncovered countless piles of stone flakes inside prehistoric caves. These tiny fragments weren't scattered randomly. They were concentrated in specific areas, suggesting that people repeatedly sat in the same spots, shaping tools for hours beside the fire. Bad weather didn't stop work. It simply changed the kind of work that needed to be done. Some people likely prepared fresh animal hides. Others carefully carved bone into needles or awls used to repair clothing. Every improvement mattered. A warmer cloak could save someone's life during the next cold season. A stronger spear might decide whether tomorrow's hunt ended with food or empty hands. Slowly, one repair at a time, the group became better prepared for whatever waited outside. But perhaps one of the greatest inventions ever created required something ancient humans suddenly had plenty of: time. Imagine twisting long plant fibers together with nothing but your hands over and over and over again. The process was slow, sometimes frustrating, but eventually those loose fibers became something incredibly useful: rope. It sounds simple today, yet rope transformed human survival. It allowed people to secure shelters against strong winds, fasten sharp stone point onto wooden handles, carry heavy supplies more easily, build traps, and create fishing equipment. Almost every major technology that followed depended, in some way, on the ability to tie things together. Researchers have even discovered ancient tools specifically designed to help twist plant fibers into stronger cords, showing just how important this skill eventually became. Rain may have kept people indoors, but it also gave them the uninterrupted hours needed to master difficult crafts that couldn't be rushed. Life inside the cave wasn't only about making tools. People also made their temporary homes more comfortable. Excavations from prehistoric shelters reveal carefully arranged layers of grass, reeds, and soft plants spread across the ground to create sleeping areas. Some groups even selected plants known today to naturally discourage insects. That tells us something remarkable. Ancient humans weren't simply trying to survive another night. They were already thinking about comfort, cleanliness, and improving daily life. Even tens of thousands of years ago, people understood that a better place to sleep meant more energy for tomorrow's challenges. Then something extraordinary happened. Once every practical task had been finished, some people kept creating anyway. Deep inside certain caves, far beyond the entrances where sunlight could reach, ancient artists covered stone walls with incredible images: running horses, massive bison, powerful lions, graceful deer. These weren't rough sketches. Many showed movement, careful observation, and surprising artistic skill. Creating them required preparation. Someone had to carry light deep underground. Someone gathered pigments. Someone spent hours painting while darkness surrounded them. No one knows exactly why these paintings were made. Perhaps they recorded important animals. Perhaps they told stories. Perhaps they held spiritual meaning. Whatever their purpose, they remind us of something powerful. Creativity didn't appear after civilization. It existed long before cities, long before writing, long before history books. Sometimes the human mind creates its greatest ideas during moments when the outside world forces it to slow down. Storms also changed something far less visible: conversation. When nobody could travel, nobody could hunt, families spent long hours gathered around the fire. The oldest members shared memories. Experienced hunters explained how to follow animal tracks. Parents taught children which berries were safe, which rivers flooded first, which sounds in the forest meant danger. Knowledge passed from one generation to the next through spoken words. Long before schools existed, stories became classrooms. Every lesson remembered increased the group's chances of surviving the future. Around those glowing flames, history wasn't written, it was spoken, again and again, until every child knew it by heart. Those evenings may have quietly built the foundations of human culture. Ironically, rain wasn't always an enemy. Sometimes it became an opportunity. When storms finally ended, the ground revealed fresh clues. Soft mud preserved animal footprints with incredible detail. Hunters could see which direction a herd had traveled, how many animals passed, whether they were walking or running. Tracking often became easier after rainfall than before it. Rain also awakened new food sources. Wild mushrooms appeared, fresh plants sprouted. Wet soil made edible roots easier to dig. In many regions, insects emerged in huge numbers after storms, providing valuable protein with very little effort. The environment changed completely. Groups that understood those seasonal patterns gained an enormous survival advantage. Nature had not stopped providing food, it had simply changed the menu. So what did ancient humans really do when it rained? They protected the fire that protected them. They repaired the tools that would feed them. They strengthened the shelters that kept their families alive. They taught children the knowledge that couldn't be lost. They created art that still amazes us tens of thousands of years later. And when the clouds finally cleared, they walked back into the world stronger, smarter, and better prepared than before. Maybe that's the biggest lesson hidden inside every prehistoric rainstorm. Progress doesn't only happen when everything goes according to plan. Sometimes, growth begins the moment you're forced to stop. While the storm raged outside, human imagination kept burning inside. And perhaps that quiet fire of creativity became one of the greatest survival tools our species ever discovered.